Hey everybody, it's Terry over here at Hidden Hollow. We got a couple of guys from church come out today to look at the puppies. One of them is going to be getting one of them. I want to show you my new feeder design. You know, the other ones with the dowel rods and all, they're cute. But you lose a lot of feed like that. You can see down here, there's no feed on the ground. This right here, it was a really good looking thing the other day. But as you can see, the pigeons get to it and they turn it really dirty. These holes, I'm going to say are 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. This is a 16-inch feeder. This is made completely out of cedar. If you want to save money on building one of these, you go to Lowe's, because Home Depot doesn't sell them. But you go to Lowe's, you buy a 6-foot cedar picket fence, 6 inches wide, which is really 5.5, but they call it 6 inch. 1 inch by 6 inch, which is really about a 1/2 inch, 6 inch, 6 foot. And you can do this. And I'm going to show you because this one, see all my young birds? These guys are still squeakers. These 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all squeakers. This is a pair. These guys are getting ready to go into my brood loft. That's coming up next. I'm getting ready to work on it. I have another idea for the loft. I think some of you guys might like, because it's a really good idea as far as I'm concerned for what I need. But today, I'm going to show you how to build one of these. Really simple, really easy, and really cheap. Why spend $20, $30, $40 for a feeder when you can make one of these for approximately $4 for materials? Y'all hang on and I'll take you into the shop. Alright, this board, like I said, is a cedar fence board. Just like this cedar fence board you see right there. Don't worry about the shop, it's a mess, I'm cleaning it up. This one is 24 inches long. This hole saw, this is 2.5 inches wide. This whole set, very cheap, and got it at Harbor Freight. It goes everything from small, I don't know the sizes exactly, but small. So I think this is the biggest size, is a 2.5. And as you can see, that's the perfect size. What you want to do is you draw a center line, which is 2 3/4, center for 5.5. And you go over here, mark it 2 inches, 6 inches, 10 inches, 14 inches, 18 inches, 22 inches. Mark a center. Then when you, like I said, I'll take my speed square. Take my speed square. I'll mark down this way. I take my level and I'll mark long ways, and I'll get a center point. Like I said, 2, 6, 10, 14, 18, 22. And I'll put that bit at the very crossroads, and I'll drill these out. I might take a screwdriver to pry these little pieces of wood out of there and everything. But you do it on both sides. So I got one side here, one side I'm getting ready to do, and I'll show you what I do from here on out. Hold on a second. Just to get an idea what I was talking about, this long line right here, I marked it in 3 spots because this is 2 foot, my level is about 18 inches long, so I had to do it 2 lines. But I measured it 2 3/4, 2 3/4, 2 3/4. Like I said, these marks here were 2 inches, 6 inches. It's every 4. You start at 2, it's every 4, as long as you use an even number. 10, 14, 18, 22. When I drill them out, that's what it's going to look like. So there's your lines. There's your board. I'm going to pull out my 2.5 inch drill. Put this bit tip, the crosshairs right there, and I'm going to drill them all out. So y'all just hang on. Alright, so as you can see, it's one side. There's the other side. So we're going to try to make this as easy and simple. You know, no ripping down, nothing crazy. So basically, these are 1/2 inch wide. They're 1/2 inch thick. Like I said, it's going to take you, in order to do it, probably going to take you 2. Probably going to take you 2 6-foot cedar picket fence boards. They're $2.78 a piece, I believe, here in West Virginia. Then I'm going to cut 2 for the sides. These are 4.5. So when I put these in here on the inside, that'll make it 5.5 inches wide, which what the bores are. So this is the top right here. And since I did make one little mistake, this one, and I'm going to butt another one to it, which will be the bottom. You won't be able to see it. What I did do, because, you know, the pigeons are watching, is my pencil marks that I had on my boards. I went ahead and sanded them off. I took my little mouse sander. This guy is great. I wouldn't advise it if you're going to stain something. A lot of times it leaves swirl marks in the wood. I don't know if it's just the softwood like the cedar and the pine, but it leaves swirl marks. And when you stain it, like it's a light stain, you can see the swirl marks. It looks very unprofessional. So I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper, probably what is this? This piece of sandpaper right here. Let's see what it is. It is a whatever it is. I think it's a 180 or an 80 or something like that. And I'm just going to take it on the insides of these. I'm going to smooth them off real quick. Then, not only am I going to nail these together with my trusty Harbor Freight nail gun, which I will say, at least when it comes to the staple guns. This is a Harbor Freight staple gun. It goes with my Harbor Freight air compressor. This little staple gun right here is the bomb. I had actually bought one of the air staple guns at Lowe's. I'm going to tell you, that thing jammed every 5 minutes. And it wasn't easy to unjam it. I actually had to take it apart and do other things with it to try to get it unjammed. And I had more problems with the big name Arrow staple guns. I took it back to Lowe's and got my money back. I drove out to Harbor Freight and bought one of these right here. Central Pneumatic. This guy and this guy right here, the nail gun, for all my trim and a lot of these things I build, they're the bomb. And they're a lot less money. Hey, you can't beat it. I'm not going to steer you wrong. But anyway, everything with my gas-powered auger that I got at Harbor Freight, my chop saw I got at Harbor Freight, my table saw over there I got from Harbor Freight. You save a lot of money, and for just somebody like me, I'm not building cabinets. I mean, everything I build is nice, but it doesn't have to be 100%. So why spend a big money on stuff that you're not going to use all the time, even though I do use this stuff all the time. This is another feeder that I'm building. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead with the sandpaper on the insides. And not only am I going to nail this stuff together, but I'm also going to glue. Because I noticed that these nails do like to come apart after a while. You know, they can pull. So the glue will only help. And when I get the sides together, I'm going to staple the bottom to it. And then I'm going to make a top for it. So I guess y'all see what's happening. When I'm done, I'm going to show you the diagrams, the sizes of how to do everything here. Just in case you want to do one on your own. Should just hang on and I'll get back with you. One of these days, I'm going to get me the right kind of tools, the video equipment that I could set up and learn to do this proper. I'm no expert, but what we got going on here is the sides. I glued one side here of it, one side here of it. As you see, I took the piece of sandpaper and I just went around the edges on the inside and out just to smooth it. Nothing's going to hurt your birds. It's going to be just fine. So let's get to the stapling part, or the nailing part, and we'll get this together. Hope y'all enjoying this so far. It's a lot of fun to build these things. What I've noticed, like I said, the dowel rod ones, the birds seem to stick their heads in, throw food everywhere. It's really not good. These right here, they seem to work out really well. Like I said, when you go into Lowe's, you don't go into the lumber department. You go to the garden department. You go back there where they have the fences and those fence pickets and stuff, and you buy these boards. I think they're $2.78 a piece. 2 boards, you know, these are 24-inch feeders. You could probably make 2 16-inch feeders out of 2 boards. You're talking $6 of materials, you know. But a couple of tools. If you don't have the nailer, hey, you can always pre-drill a hole, throw a couple screws in that bad boy. Just glue always helps. I always recommend throwing some glue in there. Yeah, just do some screws. Wood screws, you know, 7 inch and a quarter ought to be just fine. Just whatever you have. Even experts make mistakes. I chose you to put the glue on the edge right here, but I forgot that's not how I was doing this. I wanted to keep the sides tucked, so when you look at it here, it's just fine. So what I did was run a glue on the inside, down this line here, down this line here. When I flipped it over, I did it on the edge on both sides there too. But as you can see, It's all stapled together. I keep saying stapled. Nailed together. When I'm done with this box, I'll sand down the edges, but it's really no big deal because it's not a big deal. So far, this is 24 inches long. It's 5.5 inches wide. I cut the top a little bit longer so that it overhangs a little bit. Just like that. The bottom is going to be flush. It's going to look real nice. And that's where we're getting to so far. As you can see, we have the bottom in. There's the bottom. Now, like I said, I like to make the top about 1 inch longer. And this is 24 inch long here. The top is 25 inches. So you figure a half an inch down here, a half an inch for this board right here. We're going to come in about an inch and an eighth, let's say. An inch and an eighth. And we're going to do the same thing down here. If I can do this while I'm, let's see, an inch and an eighth right there. And we'll pretty much do the sides. We'll go 5/8 an inch on the sides. Hold on, I'll show you what I mean. As for my tops, this is the bottom of the top. Like I say, a disclaimer, I am no expert. I'm trying to teach y'all how I do this. As well as I'm learning how to do this myself. I think this is my second one I built, and they're just going to keep getting better. But I like to put these blocks on here, so when I flip it over and it's sitting on top of the feeder, it doesn't go back and forth. It doesn't go back and forth. It keeps it nice and firm. So I came off here, since it's a half an inch, there's a half an inch for the length overhang. There's a half an inch on the board right here. So that's an inch. So I went 1 1/8 inches over. So I marked the line. I made a line with my speed square. And I'll line this up right there. And it gives me plenty side to side to clear this right here. Same with this side right here. And with the width, I went 5/8. That gives me a little well over a half an inch. And a little bit to play with on both sides. Drew a line, as you can see. I went ahead and just cut some scrap boards. I'm going to make them as straight as I can. I'm going to throw a little glue on them, and then I'm going to take them and I'm going to nail them down. And then I'm going to flip it over. You won't be able to see all this stuff, but you will know this will not go back and forth or up and down. So let me go ahead and screw these down, nail these down real quick, and I'll show you what I have. Let me explain a pitfall. As you can see, the little nails, the ends of the nails are sticking up where I nailed them in. Let me show you this real quick. See this? This is basically it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do have to get the sides and the front and back pretty well off, or you'll have a whole lot of movement. But see how I got these guys here? I threw some glue in there because I like to throw glue on stuff. When I flip it over, you see it sets in there. It's not going nowhere. It's like I said, the top keeps it from sliding off, pushing off. It's just beautiful. But when it comes to these little nail heads sticking up, what I like to do is take my little file and I'll just go over top of them. Just takes a second, and you know it. You'll never know it even happened. And then all I'm going to do after this is build a little handle for the top, and this thing will be done. So hang on, and we'll get finishing it. Just a small tip. I wasn't thinking, but when you do put these boards in here, what you can do with the nails is take your nail gun and just put it at a slight angle, shoot them off to the side. You won't have this problem. I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna take a piece of sand. You know, I got them all smooth now. Look, I'll run my hand across here. All the nail heads are smooth now. I'll go ahead and just sand it a little bit, just for the hay. I like to use this kind of sandpaper for the tops because it doesn't leave marks. But I'm gonna pull out my little mouse sander, and I'm gonna sand all my edges and get it all nice and smooth and everything. And when I'm done with that, I'm gonna make a handle out of the wood also. Like I said, this is all out of cedar. Cedar is really good because it keeps bugs away and it don't rot. And I'm not going to worry too much about appearance because you know what's going to happen to it as soon as it gets in the loft. It's going to be kind of nasty every once in a while. But hey, it's a cheap, easy feeder. I'm getting ready. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sand everything down. I'm going to build my little handle, which is really simple to do. I'm going to be using that to build my handle. And I think y'all are going to be very well impressed. And when I'm done, I'm going to write down on paper your exact sizes that you need so you can make one of these yourself. So just hang on, everybody. I know this is a time-consuming project, but in all reality, if I didn't have the video camera, I bet I could make one of these in 10 minutes. But that's just me. But y'all hang on. Find center best you can. Like I said, a little bit of glue. Take a little piece of scrap wood. Try to make it center as you can right there. Throw a couple nails, 2 or 3 nails through it. You got a piece like this. Put it just on top of it. I'm going to nail that down. And we're going to be in business. So it took me 16 minutes on video. I guarantee probably 15-20 minutes in real life if you didn't hesitate. I think the most time it takes is just drilling out the holes. But look, that's a 12 bird feeder. It's 24 inches long. When you want to get in there, you just lift the handle. And like I said, you got these stops here, the size and everything else. So when you put it all back together, it doesn't go anywhere. Birds can't jump in there, knock it off. The birds can't climb in there. Maybe some really young ones could. But birds can't climb in there. What I noticed was, I watched a video, I don't remember the name, but it was Ethan's Loft. And he was showing how to build feeders. And when I started building the feeders, because of his direction, I did it the same way. He did the dowels every 2 inches. What I've noticed, and my buddy Dan Duran at Modoc Mountain Futurity, something like that, Dan Duran, he said that some of his young rollers were able to get out of there. And what I do notice about my feeders with the dowel rods is that when I feed, I have birds getting in my feeder, which sucks because the birds get in the feeder. They not only do they eat the feed, but they crap on the feed, which is not good for your birds, right? So I've seen a design like this before and thought I would make my own design because I didn't find a video on how to do this. But here's your video. I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to write down the measurements, exactly how to do this, you know, other than like building a handle and just a little knickknacks. Most everything else is sizes, and you can cut them yourself. Like I said, all you need is a hole saw, a good drill. You can do screws, or you can do little tap nails or whatever. I used a pneumatic nail gun. It makes it a lot simpler. I use some glue, and lumber will save you a lot of money when you build these because they don't have to be no wider, because if they're too wide, there's feed left over in the middle the birds just can't get. They don't waste feed. I've been trying it on my other young birds over here, and I have no feed on the ground. And that bothers me because for a while there I was getting rats around here. I've popped a couple with my pellet gun. I haven't seen none lately, but I know they're still here. But as long as the feed's flying out of my other feeders, going through the wire floor and hitting the ground, I'm going to have varmints around my house. I used to have chickens around here, but my peckerhead neighbor shot my chickens, shot my turkeys. He didn't want nothing to run around because apparently it went in his yard. So they used to supplement their meal by going up underneath my kit boxes. But he can't do that no more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write all this stuff down. I'm going to, like I said, the measurements and all, so you can get a good idea if you want to build these yourself. If you want to pay for shipping, hey, I'll build them for you, whatever size you want. Then I'm going to go into the loft in here. I've got a great idea because I have a problem. And I'm going to roll it by you guys, and I would hope that you take the time and listen to my issues and maybe comment, agree, whatever it takes. But I think I have an idea for something maybe even you were struggling with. So hang on, everybody. I'll get right back with you. Sorry this video is so long, but it's very educational. Don't you like to learn stuff? This should explain it. You're going to need 3 at 24 inches. That is this side, the other side, and the bottom. There's your 3. You're going to need 1 25 inches long. And these are using a standard 5.5 foot board. One at 25 inches long. This is the top, so it overhangs a half inch here, overhangs a half inch here. Sides are 4.5. That way, because these are half inch wide. That's together is an inch. 4.5 will make 5.5 inches wide, which is the standard 5.5 inch board. So when you're doing the bottom, it'll be all flush, nice and pretty. Now, like I said, this is a 24 inch feeder. Center at 2 3/4, which is a 5.5 inch board. The width of a 5.5 inch board, 2 3/4 is center. So I would take, like I have my little level here, I got it at the Dollar Tree for $1. And since it's longer than my level, I would mark 2 3/4, 2 3/4, 2 3/4, and I drew me a line. Across there. Then you've got your 2 inches, which is 2 inches, 2 inches center, 6 inches center because he's every 4 inches, 10 inches center, 14 inches center, 18 inches center, and 22 inches center, and that's it. So then I would take my square, run along the edge of the board, like that. I would go along and find my 2 3/4, and I'd run along. I would do the line on each one of my marks for center. That's those holes, these numbers right here. That's center. And you will come up with that when you take your hole saw. Like I said, I got this at Harbor Freight, this whole little kit. They're not expensive. Or you can just go out and buy the one bit. And then, like I said, you see how you do it. Put the sides in there. You nail them to the sides. You nail the bottom to it. The top comes off. Pretty much the materials you're going to need is glue. This Type Bond is really good. A nail gun, or you can use, like I said, little nails and screws. But I always glue it together when you get a chance. That's what I said, nail gun or screws or nails. But you're definitely going to need a pencil. Definitely going to need a tape measure. You're going to need a square, some kind of straight edge. Like I said, that was $1. And a saw, because you got to cut this stuff. But anyway, get a good look at this. There's your sizes. Like I said, if you're willing to pay for shipping, I will build these for you all day long. I'm not sure of the price yet. I'll have to go over it. Probably about $15 to $20 a piece for a 24-inch one. But I can make them smaller. I can make them bigger for a little less or a little more. Let me take you in the loft because there's something I wanted to show you in there. This is my aviary. As you see the birds come in, I built this landing pad the other day. And there's my trap. Now, a lot of times I'll take my birds, I'll take a group of birds and I'll take them on a flight, a toss, whatever you want to call it, flight, a toss, and I want to train them. But when they come in, if they do come in, they get mixed up with everybody else. It's hard to tell just who came home and how fast they came home. Because they come right in the aviary, they go right on in the trap, and then they're in the big loft. Let me show you how confusing it is in the big loft. This is the big loft. So you can see when I get a group of 10 or so white birds back, it get kind of confusing who came in and what. So I had this idea. I'm going to build a box that I can mount to this right here, to this area right here, so that when my birds come in and they decide to trap, they're going to trap and they're going to trap right into another box, which is going to be a wire box. It's going to be hanging on the loft. I'm going to have a door on it, so they, because of the trap, they won't be able to go back out. They'll be stuck in the box, and I can reach in there, pull them out, check the band numbers, and I'll know more precisely who came home and who didn't. Apparently, there's still 2 pigeons hanging out on my church, which I think I'm going to take a group up there and try to get them to fly home again. Yesterday, I did. I took 5 up. I think 6 went home because 1 flew off some house in the neighborhood next to my church, and there was 6 all of a sudden. But the pastor's son told me today that there was still 2 on top of the church. So I'm going to take me a group, and since I know who's who, see my flyers? See that boy right there with just the 1 green band around his leg? He's one of my flyers. He's the one I will take with me. But I'm going to build a box here that I can take off whenever I want to. But like when I take, say I take 10 birds out, and I want to know who come home, which ones came home, or which ones came home first that trap. They'll go into a special box right here in the front where they can't get with everybody else until I reach in there and pull them out one by one and write down their numbers. It's a lot of work. See, I got colors in here now. I've got racing birds. So I put that board back. I put the board back so they won't be able to fly back and forth into this section. What I'm getting ready to do here now, just since I got the nesting thing done for all my nesting boxes, everybody's going to come out of here. My stock birds are going to go in there. Birds that I can't fly because they won't stay. They're just my breeders. I'll put them in here. I'll lock the door so they can't get out. This whole section right here, in here, so I have a door for it. That whole section right there, I'll be able to shut the door, and I'm going to have all my youngins in there, all my squeakers, because I've got some. I've got probably about 10 or 12 right now, and I'm going to wean them in there. It's going to just, having this box out here will make it a lot easier for me, because then not only can I manage my whites, but I can also catch up all my flyers, all my regular homies, these gray ones and the blue bars and the checks and the splashes. And I can run them out of here. I can just put them all in the box, you know, lock them in this area right here, let them fly whenever I want, and teach them how to trap without having to deal with all these whites and learning bad habits. Because I'm telling you, my whites can teach you some bad habits. I'm going to get off here, get something to drink. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to clean this loft. It really needs it. And I'm going to get back to work. I sure hope you all enjoyed the video on building the feeder. I like to build stuff, and I like to show the stuff that I build. And if it helps somebody, well, hell, that's even greater. John, have a great day. I got a new buddy over named Mark over at Red Star Loft. He's got a really nice loft. He's got some really nice birds. And I think you should check him out. He needs some subscribers. Check him out. Mark's a really nice guy. And he's a beginner, just like I think a lot of us are. And he's learning, and you can learn along with him like I'm doing. I've been in this for a while, but I don't know jack. You know, that's why I rely on guys like Peter Rahman, Danny, Adrian P, Ham's Flight Kit Box, like I said, On the Go Loft, White House Loft. These guys, do not hesitate to come to me and say, Terry, you need to do this. You don't need to do that. And I've learned so much from these guys. I hope you check them out. Like I said, Mark over there at Red Star Loft. Go check him out and see his videos. I think he got this morning, he got attacked by a hawk. Said his pigeon ran into a finch and survived. Got away from the Cooper. That's a good thing. Tell you all to have a great Memorial Day weekend. And I'm going to get started on my chores. Peace out.